Okay, so good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Louise McBride, and I am this evening's host of the Postgraduate Nursing and Healthcare webinar for Atlantic Technological University. Delighted to see so many people joining in here and linking in. And firstly, just want to say that this is a shared webinar across our 3 campuses in Donegal, Letterkenny campus, ATU, also in ATU Castlebar in Mayo, and we're also joined by colleagues from St. Angela's College, ATU, Sligo. So just first, a few housekeeping things, just to say that the session is being recorded and we will be delighted to be able to share this on the ATU social media watch back link. And the other thing just to mention that all of the opportunities and courses and programs that we share with you tonight are all accessible on the ATU./flexible website. So I just want to start off the proceedings and just to say that it's so important that professionals, nurses and allied healthcare are aware and plan around their careers. So we're very mindful that the opportunities across now Atlantic Technological University should be shared on a platform like this so that you can avail and get a round-robin or holistic overview of what's on offer in the Northwest. So continuing professional development has always been very important for all of our individual departments of nursing in Mayo, Sligo and Donegal. But it's never been a better time for professionals to upskill, for graduates to think about their progression, career pathways, or indeed to look at a change of a career pathway. And these courses across our 3 campuses offer you, a candidate or a potential future applicant, an opportunity to upskill. So as I've said, I've joined by nursing partners. They'll individually introduce themselves as we go around the different forums. So I just want to acknowledge that we also are joined by the Interim Director of the CNME here in Letterkenny, Donegal. And Tricia is going to give us an overview of the funding, and it's very important we flag that. So if you're a HSC nurse or midwife, it would be important that we flag that the funding deadline is coming up soon, the 31st of May. So as a HSC application, we want to highlight that. And Tricia will take us through that process and the application and just some pearls of wisdom with regards to getting that up and running. So I might just first identify that these programs may be full-time, but we feel that predominantly, and we know that full-time employees will opt for postgraduate. So they're online, some of them, they're flexible, they're blended, and predominantly most of our postgraduate candidates do opt for the part-time option because it is more conducive to those that are working full-time or part-time hours and work-life balance. So without further ado, I'm going to now hand over to one of my colleagues. And as I've said, we'll introduce individually. So we're going to go firstly to St. Angela's College, which joined us just before Christmas in November. We're incorporated as part of ATU Nursing. And we're joined from St. Angela's by Dr. Patsy McSherry and Dimphna O'Connell, and they're going to give us an overview of the postgraduate courses available in St. Angela's, Sligo. So I'll hand over now to Patsy and Dimphna.
Okay, nice to meet you all, and you're very welcome. I'll start off. So my name is Dimphna O'Connell, and I am the Director of Postgraduate Nursing Programs in St. Angela's, in our nursing department in St. Angela's. And I wanted to talk to you briefly this evening about 4 programs on offer with us in the coming year. The first one I'll speak about is Community Mental Health Nursing. So Community Mental Health Nursing is a program, it's a master's and or postgraduate diploma, whichever students choose. For the postgraduate diploma element, it's 1 year full time, and students are going to be working in a community mental health setting when they're undertaking this program, with the main aim of learning and upskilling in recovery orientated community care in mental health. Students attending this program then will come to college maybe on an average of 1 day a week, spread out over the postgraduate diploma year, which is 1 year, and they work in placement full-time when they're undertaking the program. There's a great variety of modules on offer in that program, you know, including things like therapeutic communication and making recovery a reality, and lots of choice options within that module as well, around eating disorder module, managing and assessing self-harm, introduction to cognitive behavioral therapy, and first episode psychosis management as well. So there's lots of variety within the program and ability for people to choose. Students can choose to go on to do a second year of the program then, which is part-time, and that is to achieve the Master's Award instead of the PG DIP. The other 3 programs then I'm going to speak about are more multidisciplinary programs. The first of them is an international healthcare management program, and this is a 1 year full-time master's or 2 years part-time, whichever the students choose. And I suppose that's to upskill students in who are interested in progressing their career in the field of healthcare management in particular. And that is an interesting array of modules, again, around financial management in health services, project management, quality and healthcare management, and strategic management and leadership. On this program, some of these modules are also offered on a standalone option. So if students were unsure if they wanted to commit to programs, to full programs, they can always try some of these modules on a standalone basis before making that decision. And of course, they will be exempt then from those modules on the full program once they join. The third program then I'll introduce is a Master's in Health and Wellness Coaching. This is a very unique program in that it's focusing on upskilling multidisciplinary healthcare workers to become healthy lifestyle change coaches. What's unique about this program is that also, it is an approved program for health and wellness coaching. It's approved training and education program for that purpose, approved by the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching. So it is a 2-year part-time program, and when students undertake the first year of that program, a postgraduate certificate, they are eligible to seek registration as health and wellness coaches and to practice in that area. And then students can choose to continue for a further year to postgraduate diploma level, and on again for another year then to master's level, and that's part-time each of those years. The fourth and final program I'll introduce to you this evening then is the postgraduate diploma or master's in professional or nursing studies. And this is a very flexible framework program. So this is for nurses or for allied healthcare professionals. And this is a program that can be taken to PG DIP level over 2 or 3 years. So that gives students the option to take 1 module per semester, or if they choose to do it a little quicker, they can do it over 2 years, taking, you know, more than 1 module per semester. There's just 2 core modules in this program, research and then an ethics module. And then after that, students can choose from a wide variety or suite of optional modules to build in a way their own bespoke program that may suit their specific professional discipline that they're interested in gaining a postgraduate diploma or master's upskilling in. So it is a nice flexible framework. Of course, Sligo is a good location in terms of St Angela's College, with ease of access to parking and accommodation, which I suppose helps when you're staying out of big or urban centres. And as I said, many of our programs do allow a flexible approach where modules, all of the ones I've introduced actually, allow people to take modules as standalone or micro-credential modules, like standalone module, so that they can maybe pick and choose a module or 2 of a program, do them before they decide to come onto the program, and of course get full exemption if they do that. So that's a whistle stop tour, Louise. of our programs. I can answer questions, of course, if at the end there's a question and answer session, and I can take some questions in regard to any of those programs.
Great, thank you very much, Timna. And just to remind everybody that's joining us that our webinar we have a question and answer link at the top of the webinar. So we really want to encourage you not to just wait until the end, but pop in your questions there and we'll be able to address them as we go along, or some of the speakers while they're actually talking. So please do engage and pop in your questions, and the questions up in the very top Q&A, and we'll be able to handle questions, and we'll obviously then have a question and answer session towards the end, but we'll welcome any questions as the speakers speak. So thank you, Dipna, very much. So we might now move to Castlebar, ATU, Mayo, and we're going to be provided with an overview of what's on offer there. And we're joined by Daniel Caldwell and also Dr. Carmel Heaney, and they're going to give us an overview of the opportunities in Castlebar. So I'll hand over to you, Daniel, I believe, first, and then to Carmel.
That's lovely. Thank you, Louise. It's great to be with you this evening. I'm going to maybe just address some of the issues that are common to both programs. We're going to be talking about the postgraduate diploma in MSc in palliative and end-of-life care, and also the postgraduate diploma in MSc in quality and patient safety. And Carmel will address that in a few minutes. But I suppose just to say, in relation to the structure of the programs on the campus, the two programs that we're going to talk about are multidisciplinary, and so we do draw students from a wide range of professional backgrounds. Nursing is obviously a predominant one, but there are other access routes for people from different allied healthcare professions into the programs. All of them, the two programs actually really encourage the use of RPL, so students who have professional experience, we would encourage them strongly to look at the RPL route around access to the program if they don't currently have a level 8 program, and we're very proactive in relation to that, having designed pathways based on the QQI and national guidelines for nurses to gain entry. They're blended, so what that means is that for a day and a half per month, so 4 times each semester, people come to the campus in Mayo. They get an opportunity to be away from their work and their other life responsibilities, and the modules are delivered 2 to 6 on a Thursday and then from 9 to 6 on a Friday. I suppose another thing that's common to both programs, and I think a great selling point, is the fact that the core textbooks for all of the modules are actually provided as part of the fee structure, and also your overnight accommodation in the hotel in Castlebar when you're studying with us is included in the fee structure. That's not just a nice perk. I actually think that helps to develop a community of practice around how people from different professional backgrounds interact around the program, and that's common to both programs, the MSc and postgrad dip in palliative care, and also the program in quality and safety. I suppose from the MSc in palliative and end-of-life care, just a number of things that I think are important just to mention. Obviously, we have very strong relationship with clinical partners right across the region. So the hospice in Donegal, the Northwest Hospice in Sligo, Mayo Hospice, Roscommon and Galway Hospice, and indeed other community teams right around the region would actually be key partners and stakeholders in the delivery of the program. And I think that's really significant. We are NMBI accredited, which I think is another advantage. And then just to give you a bit of a flavour of the modules before I hand over to Carmel, because I don't want to take her 2.5 minutes. In semester 1, you'd look at things like the principles of palliative and end-of-life care, psychosocial, ethical and spiritual care. And then we have a clinician coming in from practice to deliver the effective symptom management and life-limiting conditions module, which gives a real look into the practice in hospice and how you can learn from someone who's currently delivering the kind of interventions that are necessary in this space. In semester 2, you look at bereavement and loss. There's an applied research which we encourage students to apply to their practice so that they're gaining real learning experience in that space. And we also have a clinical practice placement for registered nurses. So that's across those partners in the region who work with us and assessors in those different sites to help our students gain significant experience. That would be the first year of the programme, and then in year 2 there's a research dissertation with an opportunity to really focus in on an area of interest to you in that space. Carmel, over to you.
Well done, Daniel. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining this evening. My name is Dr. Carmel Heaney. I'm a senior lecturer on the Mayo campus and programme chair of our suite of quality and safety programmes. So these programmes have a strand for social care practitioners and healthcare practitioners, and you've the option of doing a postgraduate diploma in quality and safety in healthcare/social care, or a Master of Science in Quality and Safety in Healthcare, a Master of Science in Quality and Safety in Social Care. So there are 3 strands there to choose from. The programme, by its design, is interdisciplinary. It's in its 7th iteration, so we've had students come from obviously nursing backgrounds, but a lot of social care practitioners, people working with the regulators such as CORU and HIQA, people from NGOs, and we've had students from medical laboratories and hospitals. So it's really quality and safety applies to everybody and every patient navigating our services in whatever situation they're in across the country. So we've quite a good interdisciplinary mix each year. The programme itself examines the concept of quality, safety and governance from a range of perspectives, and it facilitates the student to understand the socio-political context in which they personally operate. So the assessments and the learning is designed for the student to come into the class and consider their practice and how policy and legal frameworks influence their practice and guide their practice and what needs to be adhered to. So the focus is very much on encouraging the learner or student to consider their practice or their organisation within a real world context. And the students look at frameworks for improving quality. We have HSE frameworks, IHI models. We look at best practice outside Ireland and internationally. And we look at I suppose, strategic contexts and regulatory contexts such as CORU and the Mental Health Commission and others. In year 1 there are 6 modules. There's applied research, and that's shared between the 2 programmes, the one Daniel mentioned as well. That supports the student to design a robust project. It can be primary or secondary research that can be executed in year 2 should they proceed to do the full MSc, but if they don't, it's still giving you a skill set that to let you out into practice and look at how to do good project and research work in practice. We have a module called Safer Systems, and that's a very interesting module. It looks at national and international case studies, many of which have been through media. It looks at failures in systems, lessons learned, and success stories. We've critical thinking and decision making to take a deep look at how we make decisions, good and bad, in our organisations, and look at models of good, healthy decision making. There's also a module looking at person safety, so where the person is, the citizen in our services, and how we're supporting them and ensuring a safe culture. Governance and compliance for quality, I mentioned that earlier on. It looks at what impacts governance, and not just top level organisational governance, but how individual practitioners in services should view and consider and understand governance and their duty of care. And then quality and innovation is the 6th module there, and here we look at specific quality improvement methodology, tools and techniques, so the students learn how to develop diagrams and design service improvement activities related to practice. So it's a very rich, I suppose, exposure to critical elements in delivering quality, and our graduates have reported back very good progression opportunities in their career, be it in service improvement or quality improvement, but also senior management roles and shifting outside maybe social care towards healthcare services and vice versa. And that's increasingly important with Sláinte Care and the shift, I suppose, that merging of the social and the healthcare positioning in the community. So there's a lot of shared learning there that from both professional areas that can be brought forward. So I won't take any more time, a whistle-stop tour, but please drop me an email or check the website if you have any further questions, and I'll be on here this evening to answer some as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Carmel. And so before we came online, we were all given a pitch of 5 minutes. So I think Mayo are leading it in terms of going a little bit over the time. But look, as Carmel said, all of this information is available online, and we really want you to engage. This is just to give you an overview. So thanks very much to Dimna, Daniel and Carmel. I'm just going to give a very quick overview of what's on offer. So we've been in Sligo, we've also been in Castlebar, Mayo, and now Donegal, Letterkenny. So I'm going to just divide it into two sections. The generic postgraduate opportunities that are available in ATU Donegal, and also the more specialised ones. And the specialised ones, I'm referring to those that are available to nurses. So the two generic postgraduate masters that we have on offer is the Advancing Health and Social Care, and the second one is the Therapeutic Interventions in Alcohol and Other Drugs. Now, they speak for themselves. Obviously, that second one is extremely specialised for somebody who'll be working in the area of alcohol drugs. So we attract multidisciplinary candidates or applicants to both of those generic masters. Similar to Sligo and Mayo, they are multidisciplinary. We deliver them part-time. There is 60 credits as in taught masters or taught modules, and then there is the dissertation. So typically when you sign up for either of those, you will sign up for 2 modules per semester, and there's 3 Fridays, 3 contact Fridays for each of the modules. There's no exams, that's always the great news, and there is an assignment based to the modules, and that's probably similar to all of the programs that we've discussed. So we get a really mixed representation of learners or applicants on these programs, and that's the beauty about coming onto a Master's in Advancing Health and Social Care, which is generic, because there could be somebody who's a nurse. We've had doctors, we've had TUSLA workers, we've had early childhood graduates. We've actually had a huge amount of past graduates from nursing, health and social care, and also the early years. So the relearning, believe it or not, in master's programs and postgraduate programs is what you learn from others in the classroom. So that's really, really important. And that's one thing I want to flag, that it's not very much discipline specific. The other programs I just want to mention are for registered nurses, okay? So we have typically 3, not spotlighting or stealing Mary's thunder. She's going to talk about a new program, but we have a joint collaborative master's in professional nursing, and this would be essentially for registered nurses who are looking towards a clinical nurse specialist or an advanced nurse practitioner role. It's delivered in collaboration with the other technological universities, and at the moment we haven't secured delivering it here in Donegal, but we have the ability to offer it and joint blended deliver it with our colleagues in Dundalk IT, MUT in Kerry, and also in TUS. So it's a professional nursing programme, very detailed, quite specialised for people who want to go down that clinical nurse specialist or ANP, advanced nurse practitioner route. There are 2 other special purpose awards that I just want to mention, again for registered nurses only, and they were also jointly delivered. They're chunk size modules, which is always really attractive for somebody who's maybe a new grad or doesn't really want to sign up for a postgrad. So the first one is the acute medicine, and it's a 10 credit module. Again, it's delivered across several campuses, registered nurses coming online from different campuses, and then the practical element is on campus in the afternoon. Mary has delivered on one of these 2 programs in the past before. We have quite an interest on the special purpose award. So the acute medicine, for those that might be interested, will be typically those that are working in acute medicine that really want to upskill in that area. And then the other special purpose award is the emergency nursing. So obviously you have to be working in the emergency nursing department or the emergency acute assessment unit. And we are running that program at the moment, and we have actually 18 registered on that. So again, for somebody who wants to go down that emergency route. So as I've said, and as we'll reiterate, all of these individual programs that we're talking about are available on the website, and indeed you can just click on the individual program, or as Carmel has indicated, link out or reach out to any one of us that are have presented on these. So again, just reminding, there's a Q&A session there. If anybody's got any questions, don't be shy, just pop them in there and we'll be able to field them. So what are the job opportunities after the completion of the health and wellness coaching, and what is the cost of the course? So I might just maybe deal with that one because it's actually the first question. So thanks very much, Niamh, for that. So the health and well coaching, what are the job opportunities and what's the cost? If you want to take that. You're on mute, Dimpna.
Sorry, yeah. For the costings, we have them there on our web page. They run it to do the PG dip element of it. It's €6,000. If you're doing the certificate, postgraduate certificate level, it's €3,000. So that'll be a pretty standard cost for postgraduate certificate or postgraduate diploma programs nationally. And yes, that first year of the program does qualify you to present for validation as a health and wellness coach with the national board. And once you have that qualification, then you can practice independently as a health and wellness coach. You can use these skills within your own practice in health or in social care, in terms of if you're working with clients where you're trying to promote healthy lifestyle changes. So that's one aspect to it, to bring it into your own actual your own employment as such. But also you can practice outside of that as a health and wellness coach, running your own clinics and running your own practice. So we've had a lot of different types of students coming on that program, from dietitians, physiotherapists, nurses, teachers, guards. We've had lots of variety of people taking on that role. People who are working with people looking to make sustainable healthy lifestyle changes.
Great, Dimpna. Thanks very much for that. So I'm going to move on to our spotlight session, and this spotlight session is to highlight to you new program course development across ATU Nursing, Donegal, Mayo and Sligo. We very much are of a view that ATU Nursing needs to be representative as a holistic brand. So we have now jointly approved 2 really exciting programs. I'm really delighted to talk about these. And I see one of the questions in the group chat is about the gerontology. So I might just introduce the first of the 2 new spotlight programs, and that is a Master's in Gerontology Nursing and a Master's in Gerontology Practice. So just before I ask Mary to come along, it's just to say that it is multidisciplinary. It's for nurses, registered nurses, who would be registering for a Master's in Gerontology Nursing, but it's also for multidisciplinary allied healthcare professionals who would be registering for the Master's in Gerontology Practice. Brand new, really excited about this. It is going to be cross-delivered across our 3 campuses with input from the experts who are actually on this forum. And it is also similar to the other part-time delivery. It would be a duration of 2 years part-time. The mode of delivery would be face-to-face and some blended learning with some online synchronized and asynchronized, and the entry criteria is a level 8. So I'm just answering that question, but I'm going to hand over to Mary, and then when Mary is finished spotlighting the gerontology course, we'll then go to Dr. Patsy McSherry, and Patsy is going to talk to us a new exciting opportunity in St. Angela's, Sligo. So Mary, I'm going to hand over to you to share with regards to our new programme in gerontology.
Thank you, Louise, and good evening, everybody. As Louise said, my name is Mary Dunyan. I'm a lecturer here in ATU here in Letterkenny. As Louise has just said there, she's given me a lot of information that this is really just hot off the press. It's something that we're very excited about, and the whole emphasis on older adults and aging and healthy aging. So it's a very exciting course that we're going to offer now from September. It is multidisciplinary. It's for anyone who's registered with NMBI and also for healthcare professionals who are registered with CARU. It is a 2-year programme. You can exit with a certificate or a postgrad diploma, or you can go on and do your thesis and graduate then with your master's. So we have 6 modules. 3 of them are core and 3 of them are specialist modules in gerontology practice. So it's the same modules that are for both. So you either graduate with an MSc in gerontological nursing or an MSc in gerontology practice. It's very varied, as Louise said. There's different assessments throughout. There's no examinations in it. It's mainly assignments that you'll have to complete. Also, there'll be a link with practice as well. Just to I suppose to register for the course, you have to get support from your Director of Nursing or Head of Services, and you have a letter just to support you for that, and you need a mentor just in practice as well. But I think it's a really interesting course. We'll be covering things like health, aging, health assessments and management of the older person, looking at all the developments that's happening out with chronic disease management and integrated care programs for older adults. We'll be looking at falls, prevention, looking at dementia, and then contemporary issues as well in relation to aging and older adults. And then we have our core modules looking at our research, very similar, I suppose, to the other information you've just got. The masters are really all the same sort of a format. So I won't go over that again. But I think it is. It's as Louise there alluded to. It's across 3 campuses. So it's something that we're really looking forward to now in September. Okay, thanks, Louise.
Great. Thank you very much, Mary. So I hope, Fred, that answered your question. Before I go to Carmel, I think it might be advantageous for Tricia to come in now and just talk about that important piece around the HSE funding, because I'm mindful that there may be HSE nurses or midwives joining online and they want to know, will you tell us about the funding? So maybe, Carmel, I might just go now to Tricia. And Tricia, you might just share your pearls of wisdom with regards to the whole process and what they have to do, because I've already mentioned the deadline is the 31st of May. So it's important that we just highlight that. And if you want to maybe share the process and what candidates or applicants would have to do with regards to funding.
Okay, thank you, Louise, and thank you for the invite to come on to the webinar this evening. It's great to get a platform to promote academic funding and the opportunities that are available to nurses and midwives across the HSE. So I work with the Centre for Nursing and Midwifery Education in Donegal. We work under the Office of Nursing and Midwifery Services. So they have an education budget that is distributed to HSE staff to support 3rd level academic funding. Now, in Donegal, Sligo, Mayo, that is all processed through their CNMEs, the Centres for Nursing and Midwifery Education. But nationally, it's a mixture. It could be the Nursing Planning Development Units, the NMPDUs, that will actually process that as well. So it's the criteria, I suppose, really, first off, is that you have to be NMBI registered as a nurse or a midwife, and you have to be employed in the HSE to avail of funding. And what I would say is, if you were in practice, the first port of call would be if there's a program that you find that you're interested in, for example, just talking about that gerontology, which is congratulations on that. It's very exciting. You would first of all speak to your line manager and get the support from your clinical line managers. There is an application form that is available on all our email addresses. It's also on our website, and you complete that with the support of your line manager. And that's really important. That is fed up then into your either service manager or your director of nursing or midwifery. Once they have supported it, because you know, it's very difficult when you're working and you're in practice, you do need that support. So there will be maybe some practical things like study days that may be available to you. That then will come to us. We have a cutoff of the 31st of May for academic funding applications. But just to note that we will look at others coming in later than that, but that's just to get the main thing sorted. We then will process that. For somebody who is undertaking a master's program, and this is important, there's 75% funding available, and that's cumulatively, all right, over the 2-year period. So what I mean by that is if you, in year 1, you apply for funding, and then if you were going on to do the master's, you apply a second year funding for that, the second year of your master's program. So the first year would tend to be the postgraduate diploma. And if you exit at that point, that is 100% funded. If you stay on and you're doing the second year of the master's program, that is 75% cumulative. So just be aware of that, because some students can get caught out, especially if year 1 is very high, the fee, and then there's a lesser fee. So there will be a cost element, but 75%, I think we're one of the only places within Europe that are supporting post-registration education and access to academic funding. So it is very good. And we would certainly encourage all the nurses and midwives within the HSE services to avail of that. You know, you will become, if you don't know about us yet, you will be, once you qualify, if you're undergraduates, you will be coming to us for your CPD. You'll be getting to know all our faces in the CNMEs very well. And we are here to support you. You know, what I would say is, nearly all funding for third level academic is very well received, you know, so I think get your career pathway, have an idea of what you would like to do, choose your course wisely, and we are here to support you. And if you have any questions or queries, the door's always open in the CNMEs. You can contact us if you go onto our webpage. All our email addresses is there. Anne Carey, our administrator here, will help process all the funding with myself. So either one of us will be able to advise you. But the main thing is that when you're working in your jobs within the HSE, you speak to your line manager. They will support you. You will then get signed off by your director of nursing or the service manager. We will then process that form and support you with it. And you don't really, you know, it's a fantastic opportunity. It really is. And I would say that, you know, they are currently, the ONMSD are looking at funding to higher degrees. But, you know, that's a space that will be developing over time. And we're always very keen to work in partnership with all our HEI partners. For people, when you're in practice for some years, you may, you know, go on to the clinical nurse specialist, the CNSs, or the ANP roles. Now, within practice in the HSE, if you're a candidate, ANP, there is like a consortium of 5 HEAs that will be supporting the education of that. So it is important that, you know, there is a career pathway there. There's a lot of documentation, a lot of support from the services to help you develop in that role. And obviously, patient safety and quality is what we're all about. And we're here to support you. So please do reach out, and we're always very welcoming in the CNMEs and the NMPDUs. I'm
Excellent.
happy to take questions if anybody has got any.
They're very shy on the questions tonight, I noticed. So absolutely enter the questions there. But that's fantastic. And, you know, as you've just reiterated, planning your career does take planning. So it's important that, you know, if there's funding available, as you've said, Tricia, that they avail of it, and linking in with their line manager, noting the deadline with a little bit of flexibility. I'm hearing there on the 31st of May, and 75% funding is nothing to be laughed at. So important that, you know, anybody online will just, you know, take that on board and follow through. So thank you very much for that, Tricia. If there's any questions, all of the prices in terms of our fees and that are online. I know we're talking about 2 new programs, and maybe Fred and others are thinking, well, that's not on. So we don't have actual links for the 2 new courses that we've spotlighted, the gerontology one, which Mary gave an overview, and now the next one. But we will be delighted if you want, anybody who's registered, that we will generate a form and we will share all of the information with regards to the 2 new programs, and we will send that information out to anybody who's interested after the webinar tonight. So don't worry, we're capturing and we're certainly sharing any information for those that are interested in the 2 new programs. So I might now move to Dr. Patsy McSharry, and Patsy is going to talk about a second new joint curriculum that's hot off the press, newly developed, and it is a postgraduate course in cognitive behavior psychotherapy. So Patsy, I'm going to share I'm going to allow you now to share the new course that's been developed in St. Angela's with the partners in Mayo and Donegal.
Great, Louise. Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. It's lovely to be here to have an opportunity to tell you about all of the exciting stuff that's going on here. So, I work with Dimna here in St. Angela's, and I currently am the coordinator of the Community Mental Health Programme. So a very successful programme that's been running over a number of years. And actually, I'm also involved in the Health and Wellness Coaching Programme with the focus on mental health and well-being. So in terms of the new programme, this has been a very exciting development, and we've developed in partnership with our brand new partners in Mayo and Donegal. So it's a collaborative programme, and collaborative with our new ATU partners, but also particularly with the Sligo Leitrim Mental Health Services, who actually would have had approached us to develop this programme. So it's a very innovative programme, really, and what it is, it's a postgraduate diploma in cognitive behavioural psychotherapy, and that's one full calendar year, and then you can stay on for another academic year and then you get a master's in cognitive behavioural psychotherapy. So it's really quite a unique programme in that we have a huge amount of expertise provided by our partners who are practicing advanced nurse practitioners and clinical nurse specialists in cognitive behavioural therapy. And so the programme has been developed to ensure that all of the evidence-based knowledge is conveyed around CBT, and we're calling it cognitive behavioural psychotherapy, but in short, CBT is much more commonly known in terms of the general public, but actually the correct title is cognitive behavioural psychotherapy. So the idea is, after 1 year of a calendar year, you'll be eligible to become a clinical nurse specialist in CBT, and that will we're processing at the moment a Category 2 application with NMBI. So you'll be Category 2 NMB accredited CNS in CBT. Also, the content has been developed very much in keeping with psychotherapy accrediting body, and in particular the BABCP, which is the British Association of Cognitive Behavioural Psychotherapists. So the content has been developed very much based around their guidelines, so that at the end of this process, if the graduate wishes to become an accredited psychotherapist, in addition to being a clinical nurse specialist, then that will be open. They'll have fulfilled the educational criteria and the minimum requirements in terms of placement, and everything will be abided by. So let me just see the programme will take place here on campus, and I think that's the uniqueness. Is a really big, strong practice element in this. So everything that you're learning in evidence, you will also be practicing here in a simulated environment, and a lot of the course will be delivered by, as I say, clinicians in the area. And then the course will also require quite a in-depth placement working alongside cognitive behavioural therapists. So look, lots more information. Now it's at an advanced stage of approval. It's been fully developed and it's been gone through a number of review panels successfully. So, but it's not formally signed off yet, but the plan is that it will start in September, that it'll be completely signed off on in June and will be open to start in September. That's the plan. So, and look at this, if there's questions, I can take them afterwards.
Okay, great, Patsy. Thanks very much for that. So great to be able to offer those 2 new programs. And as Patsy has alluded to, we're hoping to, open the application forms once we get the final approval. We'll be having flyers and other sort of social media events to encourage applications. And just to note, we're looking at a late September, autumn start for that. So important to get even in the applications, as Tricia has mentioned, if you're anticipating any of those courses and you fulfill the criteria of funding, because at least you'll have met the deadline. So I'm just keeping an eye on the question and answers. I don't see any. So we're happy that if anybody wants to put their hand up and engage with us live, we can absolutely encourage any questions that way before we finish. But if you feel that we've answered lots of the questions, that's also fine. So Cleo, I know you have been managing the Q&A session there, and we've sort of answered the questions that are up there at the moment.
We have somebody with their hand up now, Louise, so I'm just going to unmute. We've Una Murphy who's put her hand up, so I'm going to allow Una's mic and her camera. So Una should be on now.
Hi everyone, thanks for the information session, it was great. I'm just wondering if you've done the HDIP already in gerontology, can you go on in to do your masters, or how long would that take to do?
Yeah, so your higher diploma is probably a level 8, is that right, Una?
Yes, I did it, Louise, in LYIT. So yeah, yes. I think it is a level 8.
So again, we have what we call RPL, and accreditation of prior learning. So because your higher diploma is actually at level 8, this master's program is at level 9. So there wouldn't be straightforward going into the master's. So you would actually have to start on the new program. Now we'd obviously take cognizance of, like yourself, that has been working in this area and has continued to work in the area. If there were modules like the core modules, I'm thinking research, leadership and management, whereby you've done it at a level 8, but you've been working in that area probably maybe at a clinical nurse manager or a higher senior grade, that we could look at accreditation of prior learning on those modules, Una. So okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but there's perfect.
The other specialist modules are probably, and I know this because I would have coordinated this program when it was offered at level 8. There's quite a bit of a change in the modules, Una. So obviously the specialist modules would be very important that you would do those, because a lot has changed maybe since the time you would have completed the higher diploma in care of the older person.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Great, and we have another hand up here. We have Dylan, so I'm just going to, now try and unmute Dylan. 2 seconds here. Hello, Mike. So Dylan, you should be able to join us now.
Hi, Dylan.
Dylan, if you want to unmute yourself, you should be able to.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Apologies, sorry. Could I direct my question to Dr. McSharry, please? I'm just wondering, are they anticipating the Masters in CBT to be a full-time course or a part-time course, or?
Yes, Dylan, a good question. Thanks for that. And actually, what I did, as you were speaking of it, I haven't actually said that this is for registered mental health nurses. you know, it isn't it's discipline specific to registered mental health nurses. And is it until, yes, so it's a part-time program, but as I said, it will require quite a you know, a lengthy time in practice in a practice placement. And the proposal would be that a student would require approximately 500 hours as a minimum in a practice placement. And
So,
that, yes,
I'm sorry.
that could take many different that could come in different shapes. Do you know what I mean? In terms of maybe one or 2 days a week, or blocks, or whatever. So it'll be very much up to the student to negotiate with their director of nursing, etc., as to how that will be facilitated. Does that answer, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just thinking of my own circumstances. Sorry, and I don't mean to monopolize the conversation.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
but I'm a mental
great.
health nurse. I'm a mental health nurse, and I trained in ATU.ie, of course, under Mary's tutelage, of course. But I'm just thinking, I work for a mental health charity now, and we would offer kind of one-to-one intervention sessions. Would that contribute toward my 500 hours, as in my? Or would I have to?
Yeah. So obviously you were in ATU.ie, so you were well trained, and so, Dylan, just when you say that about Mary, etc. In terms of yes, so that's so any student coming on the program needs to have a letter of support from the director of nursing, saying that they're going to support you to do this program. But in particular, that you will have access to a cognitive behavioural therapy placement. And so, you know, if you're working, as you say, in a mental health charity, now it'll be up then to you, and in association with your managers, if you can negotiate a placement within a cognitive behavioural service, then that'll be entirely possible then.
Okay.
And it's something, you know, something you can talk to me about later if you'd like. Give me a call you know, tomorrow or something like that, when we can actually have a chat in more detail about your specific situation, Dylan.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Great. Thanks, Dylan, for your question. Is there any other questions? Anybody? I don't see any hands up, but feel free to put your hand up, or we'll have to put your hand up so we can unmute your mic. So I'll just give
I suppose one comment, Louise, I'd just like to make is just to make people aware on the call that obviously HSE funding is one pathway, but also for graduates of the legacy campuses of ATU, that there is the alumni scholarship, which offers a 20% discount for legacy graduates. So graduates from LYIT, ATU, St. Angela's, ATU Sligo, ATU Galway Mayo. And you know, when you're funding, sometimes people may be able to access the HSE funding and other times not, but at least to be aware that that link is on the ATU alumni page, and if you want to read more details of it, I've posted it in the chat.
Yeah, great, Daniel. Thanks for that. It's on our Department of Nursing and Healthcare webpage, and it's also shared on the ATU. And we've got 2 callers on tonight with Una and Dylan, post you know, previous graduates of ours. So there's probably many others online listening in. So thanks for flagging that. So you've 75% coming from the CNME if you're HSE, and also a past alumni 20%. So we're all about value for money, isn't that right, Daniel?
And just one final thing then, since I'm going to make a shameless plug, the Irish Hospice Foundation also offers scholarships to nurses who are interested in pursuing careers in palliative and end-of-life care and other allied professionals. And I'm going to drop the link to that in the chat as well, our question and answer box, just so people have access to it, just in case that might help them from a funding point of view.
Right, that's fantastic. So I don't see,
Then
I don't see any other.
No.
Sorry, I
was
was going to add to that in terms of the funding, Daniel, that the, you know, the hospice funding, etc. And again, for private people who are employed in private hospitals or whatever, it's worth approaching, because obviously at this moment in time, employers are very keen to keep their staff. And if if to make even that, I've had students myself before in the community mental health program have made that case that there's people working in a HSE and they can get 75% funding to do this program. So what about, so why would I want to stay here if I can't do that? So, it's worth negotiating, I think, the climate of that, I think, at the moment, in terms of people are very keen to keep their staff.
Great. Thanks, Patsy. So any other final word before I wrap it up? I don't see any other hands up, Cleo.
No, we're all good, Louise.
Great, excellent. We've answered the questions in the chat. We were delighted to have questions from Una and Dylan, so thank you for joining us. We have some more information in the group chat there about the alumni 20%. There's also about the Irish Hospice Foundation. Tricia's door is open with regards to any fielded questions or follow-ups there. So all I want to do is I want to thank our speakers, but before I go to speakers, I want to really thank Cleo and Grace and Aveen for accommodating us this evening and keeping us all right, from our marketing team in Postgraduate. And I want to thank Dimpna, Daniel, Carmel, Mary and Patsy. But most of all, I want to thank you and really reach out to those that have taken the time to join us this evening live. It is recorded, but it's great to have people to come online. I know you are a little bit camera shy, but that's okay. We'll excuse that. So thank you for joining us. Our aim this evening was to share opportunities for you as past graduates, as people working in the area of nursing and healthcare, looking for upskilling, continuing professional development, or indeed a career change. And I hope that's what we did. But all of this information is available. This session has been recorded. You can get any further detail on ATU.ie/flexible. And obviously we've identified the funding opportunities available for you. So thanks everybody. We'll finish a little bit ahead of time. And I'm just going to close this evening's session to say that your career is in your hands. So it's so important that you plan for that career. So reach out to us if you need to, across ATU Letterkenny, Donegal, St. Angela's, Sligo, or ATU Castlebar, Mayo. So good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.